very warmly welcome Mr. Anuradha Dissanayake to make his input and to contribute towards this discussion. Thank you very much.
Yep. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Taradimel, for inviting me for this educational forum in Sri Lanka. This very timely topics, that series of topics that the forum is conducting, and today's topic is relevant to the subject area that I was responsible until day before yesterday. And however, even though I'm now given the responsibility in the country's water management sector, I still remain the chairman of the presidential task force appointed by His Excellency on Sri Lanka's education affairs. So let me just, while agreeing with the opening remarks of Dr. Taradimel, the very reason pointed out, forming this Sri Lanka's Education Affairs Task Force to see the way forward to meet the demands and supply of human resources into local and global markets. So with that, if I'm just making few updates on the numbers, you are very correct on the state university numbers of in-state universities are 15, and the intake of university students up to last year was 32,000 approximately. And then non-state higher education institute, that is also comes under a different arm of the higher education ministry of working with the private sector. There are 21 institutions. They cater approximately 24,000 students intake annually. So that combines approximately 50,000 to 51,000 between, it depends on the supply and demand and various other things. Approximately 50,000 is doing their higher education in either from the state or the state-owned privately managed institutions like NSBM, NIBM, and SLIT, and then all the private institutions. If we really take the employability of these graduates who are coming out, the non-state higher educational institutes numbering up to 21. These universities products are approximately 90 to 95% employable, whereas state universities outputs are not reaching that much, leaving alone, especially the students, approximately 50% students who are following arts related subjects, that is numbering to 16,000 out of 32 intake. The employability varies from university to university, leaving the highest number in the Colombo university's graduates, still that remains 45% are employable. That means, balance 50%, 55% is the state responsible to take them subsequently and get them employed in somewhere, whether it's a direct impact on their learning or whether their desire has been considered. And if you go out from Colombo, if you go to Jaffna University, the employability rate among the art stream is it's for less than 30%. So it also gives, there's the disparity of access to job markets, and then availability of job opportunities in outside Sri Lanka, outside Colombo. So given all this context, the presidential task force appointed by the president comprised of state university heads, and then private public sector, private university, and then private education sector, and then missionary schools, and our entire community. This task force is fed with 5 core groups, and altogether comprising of around 280 educational specialists covering different areas have been working to come up with a roadmap for 2030. As we know, the president had declared next decade as a skills decade, thinking that to minimize the present unskilled workforce of 30% to reduce down to 10%. If we say take the last labor force survey, that is 2018, based on 2018 data, 2019 labor force survey came out very recently. According to that survey, 30% of our young people who are leaving the secondary and higher education joining the market labor force as skilled about 30% and semi-skilled 40%, and that leaves 30% are just joining the market without any type of a skilled within them. So that is numbering to significant per year. So now way forward, the government thinking for next 10-year period is to increase the university intake in the state university system up to 60,000. That is doubling the present number by increasing the number of additional 10 universities in districts, focusing on very market-based, demand-driven courses that these 10 universities are comprised of faculties of engineering technology, faculties of information communication technology, and faculties of biotechnology. So these universities will take 15,000 intake from beginning of 2024 academic year onwards. And the state university system will increase, the present system university will increase the capacity up to 45,000, so that numbering into 60,000. So, and as you all know, the statistics of examination education sector, 2023 advanced level will release approximately 240,000 students who are qualifying with A-levels as against 180 now, because we all know that all these openings of the countries after the conflict, the student intake has been increased. So that means out of 240,000 who are coming out from the school system with A-level qualified, the state universities will absorb 60,000, means still that's 25%. So which leaves us a room for supporting the private sector and giving more incentives and opportunities for the private sector also to take active part, and offering market-driven courses, so that the local and international job opportunities will open for these young graduates who are coming out from the school system, university system. And to encourage that, state has proposed and implemented several initiatives, while state universities will be supported to increase their capacities and faculties where the more employable graduates are coming out, and then supporting all these the faculties of arts, liberal arts related faculties, to change their syllabi and then introduce some of the courses or the programs which will have marketable job skills that that they will be employable. And the private sector support initiative was commenced from last year. The state is providing a loan facility for students without any interest, and then a grace period of 7 years to repay. And we started offering that facility from last year. And then this year's intake, we have awarded 5,000 such opportunities for the students who are coming out from the school system who intend to get their studies in the private sector higher education institutes. And then from this year's budget proposals, the task force has proposed, and then the Treasury has agreed in policy to expand that opportunity to increase the number of scholarships or the interest-free loan scheme to 20,000 students annually. So that will help further for our students to join the private sector universities, so that the target of increasing the private sector university numbers from 25,000 to 40,000 within next 5-year period. So these are the basic outline that has been proposed by the Presidential Task Force co-group on higher education, which is comprised of members of SLANSI and members of UGC and members of SLASCOM and chambers and all, so that, so these are the basic, the major way forward that we are proposing to make sure the opening of opportunities for higher education, increasing the number from present level to almost double. And there's another decision has taken by the cabinet to see and creating a international education zone in the suburb of Colombo, that is in the area of Horana, creating a 700-acre property area dedicated for international universities to establish their facilities here. But it is not aiming for the local students, but to capture the growing markets of South Asian markets of Bangladesh, Indonesia, and then Pakistan, etc. So that that project will be a private-public partnership. The initial concept had been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers, and we are now working on marketing or the funding formula. So that will help us to bring some of the international universities to Sri Lanka, so that it will help to exchange faculties, and then increase the international student exchanges, and then it will, and then creating a competition within the country for local universities also to put their ranks in international ranking. So these are the basic planning process which have taken place during last 4-month period under the Presidential Task Force.
Andra, everybody will have a round of questions from your presentation, but are you going to say anything about the funding status of the universities before you wind up, or you want to?
Okay, yeah, okay. I was just mentioning the last cabinet decision which took place 4 weeks ago, of establishing high-tech 10 universities in districts where the national universities are not located. And these universities are set up in 10 districts, which places have been identified, the land had been identified, and these the investment for these 10 universities have been agreed in principle by this Asian Development Bank, and the feasibilities funding had been received by the Asian Development Bank, and the UGC is now conducting the feasibilities of setting up of these universities, and where these universities will offer, like I mentioned, these market-driven courses on these 3 faculties, and then the limiting these district universities to for 1,500 students intake per university, and these universities are only restricting first 3 years for the students coming up from particular districts, because we have to the accommodation and all these things have to become follow up subsequently. So that investment is $50 million US dollar investment is earmarked and is pledged in principle by the Asian Development Bank. And then ongoing funding for next 4 years on the university system is we are now investing in 5 universities of the setup of technology faculties. That's for its funding assistance from ADB and World Bank, and that investment is approximately 110 million within next 3-year period. So altogether, there'll be from the state university sector that 150 million US dollar investment is earmarked, and some have been implemented, and the results or the facilities will be ready from 2023 intakes to the university system.
Thank you very much, Anura, for keeping to time. And your question.
Can I please? Yeah.
Yes.
I have a clarifying question. Can I? Yes. Hi, Anura. Sujata. Hi.
Yes.
My question is, the technical, there was in the manifesto I saw that the technical colleges will be upgraded, or the students will be given degree paths. They'll be upgraded to technological universities. Is that part of this plan? I mean, this 20 aren't we going to have these technical college students being able to move on to degrees, or is it totally new apart from these technical colleges?
Actually, these 10 high-tech district universities are different from transforming these vocational education institutes into university colleges. So these are actually, this is now. Thank you for questioning, asking that important question. As we know, there are 100 and nearly different ministries are conducting various courses on vocational stream, and then when we make the survey in 180 divisional secretariat areas, approximately 202 institutions are offering some sort of NVQ qualification for school leavers, starting from NVQ 3 up to NVQ 5, that is higher education diploma. So the vocational or the vocational training segment will be transformed into one Tibet concept. So where any vocational training institute will work under Sri Lanka qualification framework, and then it will not differ from one institution to another. And these institutions will be renamed as university colleges. So the students who are coming and studying certificate courses, diplomas, and high diplomas in these university colleges located in each divisional secretary area, and if they wish to continue their studies up to university, they will be linked to Univotech. So that's another line of